Unity. So Unity is nearly finished, so she's ready to go to a client, hopefully next week, fingers crossed. So I'll show you how we introduce obstacles. Generally speaking, we do it with one. We can do it in the arena, but it's a bit busy at the moment with lots of staff on site. So we find somewhere nice and quiet, and we use the platforms to get that movement. So I'll show you how we start it. There's no harness, nothing on at the moment.
Is it at what sort of, how many weeks would the pup be in training before you'd start doing this?
We generally start this once they're doing guiding tension and they're in harness. So round about 5-6 weeks we'll start doing bits of this. Ready? So there's nothing, I don't say anything to her, there's no over, there's no in at this point. We are going to start introducing over and in later on. In step we weren't using the those cues, and it was just purely for movement, but we are going to start introducing them again.
What, the over and ins?
Yeah.
Can you just briefly explain what those are?
If you looked at the obstacle and the obstacle's in front of you, any movement to the right where the dog comes across you is an in movement, and any movement to the left where the dog breaks left is an over movement. Okay, ready? So she's been on platforms all the way through training, good girl.
So would you do platform work before this to make sure that they've got the drive to it?
Yeah. She's very delicate, is our Unity. And she's only got a bandana on because she's absolutely terrified of fireworks. So we're just putting some DAP on at the moment. Okay. Good girl. So this movement is just purely for in, and we'll just keep doing that one. A couple of reps. Yeah.
Is there a reason that you start with the in?
You don't need to, it doesn't matter. Historically, an in movement is harder for a dog to do, so it is quite useful if you start it off and get the dog moving across really early. Okay. And the platforms just give her a target to get to. Okay. Good girl.
Do you ever get it where, what would you do, for example, if she wasn't driving towards the platform as much? Is there any sort of alternative you can do?
You can find, if your dog's more happy doing a chair or an objective, so Zeta of mine, she doesn't particularly drive to platforms. She'll target them, but she's not very driving in other aspects. But she will locate a chair, so I'd use a chair on either side.
Okay.
This just sets them up in the right direction, really, with platforms. Chairs, sometimes they can be a little bit skew. I'm just going to add something on the end of there, just so she gets to go around it a little bit more. Sometimes what we can have here is something down this side to stop the dog drifting off. But because she's so magnetised to a platform, we don't really need that. Good girl.
So does that extra sort of chair there as well, does it bring her in at that additional sort of right angle as well? So it'd be like really kind of like sharp turn.
Yeah, it's
back
very
in.
definitive.
Yeah.
So if you were in blindfold or you had a client, they would feel that movement rather than drifting. Drifting doesn't tell the handler anything, so if you just purely felt it through the handle, it would just feel like the dog's going in a straight line. It's a very definitive movement without being pulling.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to go this way. I just need to move these platforms a little bit so I can get... So I've got a bit more room. Good cat. Oh, she's a good girl. Like I say, Unity is she is cooked, basically. Good girl. She still likes a clicker though. Okay. Good girl.
What would you do if, when you're doing that one, if the dog at this stage kind of walked, but with not enough room for the handler on the right hand side, so you kind of walked into the chair?
That's up to me to set her up. Hang on a minute. That's up to me to set her up straight away. So, what I might do, you stand on your platform a minute. Good girl. Rather than cutting in early on, you might put the platform here. Ish. Just to stop the dog coming. And then you just move it. Once the dog's given enough clearance. Okay. Girl. So, Unity's got collar cues as well, so you'll see me moving the lead, and she goes off collar cues. Okay. Good girl. Whoop, this way. Good. Nice. Good girl. Well done.
Okay, is that it?
Yeah, and we'll do it in harness next.
Thank you.